Welcome to a Song of Ice and Fire Symposium. My name is Nav.
And I'm Harmat.
And this is A Game of Thrones, Chapter 1, Bran. In this chapter, Bran gets a puppy!
Yay!
Welcome to the show, everyone. I hope you're well.
I was right about the one thing I'm ever going to be right about in this series, that Bran was a person.
Yes, you weren't sure, but that was your best guess.
It doesn't matter. I was like, okay, it's either Raisin Bran or maybe it's a person. Because I don't know if I said anything else, but if I said anything else, I don't think it made sense except for that one.
You were just really hoping that it wasn't going to be cereal.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so what'd you think of this episode of this chapter?
It was cool. I spent so much of the time just being like, okay, he's a half-brother. He's a bastard. Okay, who's that guy? Who's that? And I just spent so much time like trying to connect the dots.
Yeah.
But it was good because this episode allowed me to do that.
Episode?
Oh my god. Because this chapter allowed me to do that.
Yeah. It's a good slow start. There's a lot of people in it, but the fact that it's not very plot heavy lets you kind of get used to the people. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think it's a very nice opening. Just like slowly getting us started. Yeah. It's not like we're not right in the middle of the action right away. I think the prologue was a bit more like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so before we go any further, are you ready to do a 30-second summary?
Okay.
You don't seem very excited about that.
No, this one should be easy.
Yeah,
this one should be easy. Yeah, okay. I don't know, I think just the idea of having to do something in 30 seconds is stressful, not the actually doing it, you know?
Okay. All right, Ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so we meet a little 7-year-old boy named Bran. He's a lord's son, and, we meet his two brothers, one of whom's his actual brother, one of whom is adopted. And Adopted?
Okay.
Anyway, okay, so they're
7 seconds.
They're hanging out and they find bunnies and then they adopt the bunnies and they have to convince, no, not bunnies, wolf babies. They find wolf babies and then they have to convince their dad. So yeah, and then they get the wolf babies.
That was 30 seconds.
Okay, I don't know why I said bunnies.
You had it right before. Jon's not his adopted brother, he's his half-brother.
Half-brother, but then they adopted him.
What?
Wait, what?
Wait, where did you get the whole idea about the adoption?
I swear I read adopted in here. Because the entire time I was like, okay, it's a half-brother. And then I read adopted, and then I was like, wait. Oh, okay.
I don't remember there being I don't remember reading adopted anywhere.
Because also, it says, what does it say? Where does it say it? It says Snow, the name, blah, 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 given to all of them, unlucky. Oh, what? Did I read all of this wrong?
Okay, let me explain. Jon is Bran's half-brother. He's not... His mom is different than Bran's mom. And since he was born out of, marriage, he's a bastard. So they both have the same dad, biologically. They just don't have the same mother.
Okay, I swear, I even wrote down, I got to the half-brother part, and I was like, oh, that makes sense, because medieval times, I'm sure this guy,
Yeah, the part you were referencing earlier, it says, the bastard who bore the surname Snow, the name that custom decreed be given to all those in the north, unlucky enough to be born with no name of their own.
Yeah,
that means...
I remembered that as with no name of their fathers, so I was like, oh.
Yeah, well, he can't have the name Stark because his mom wasn't married to Edward, his
See,
dad.
now that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I remembered that completely wrong.
And there were no bunnies.
Yes. I think we were on the theme of bee, so my brain just went bunnies instead of what wolf was it?
Dire wolf.
Dire wolf, yes. My brain just went
These
to
are
bunnies.
some dire circumstances with some dire wolves.
Yes.
Okay.
That
I don't
is
know.
true.
I'm just being weird today. Okay. As we've learned so far, you suck at 30-second summaries. You better get better.
I definitely do.
All right. It does, however, help me figure out what stuff you got wrong, like the fact that Jon was adopted.
No, I don't know. I swear, I don't know why. Because the thing was, when I first read it, I understood that. Because it even said half-brother. So I was like, okay, different mom. That makes sense. Because they referenced the fact that they're half-brothers many times.
Yeah.
So the first couple times it was brought up, I was like, okay, cool, half-brother, you know? And I was like, okay, so that must mean that he has a different mom. Because, you know, if it was a different dad, then, like, why would they be here?
That makes sense.
And then they called him father. So I was like, okay, different mom. And then, I don't know why I remember this, but I remember reading adopted and then being like, okay, so he's adopted. It's not a different mom.
I just, like...
Why did I...
In my book, I searched the word adopt and nothing came up. Like...
Then what happened to my brain? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, what did happen?
This is ridiculous. Why...
Okay, it doesn't matter. Maybe we'll come along it at some point,
Okay.
but just to be clear, he's not adopted. Now
Yes.
we're done with that
Yes.
part. Okay,
Yes.
let's get into the actual chapter.
Let's
So,
do it.
Do you want to start us off?
Take us through. Okay, let's go to the page. Okay, so we start the chapter, and Bran and his fam jam, so his two older brothers, and then his dad, they're going to a king's justice, like a trial.
Plus, like, 15 other people.
Yeah, and other people as well. They're going to a trial for Garrett, who we met before.
Yeah.
And so they're going to the trial, and since he's about to turn 7, so he hasn't been to one before, so he's like excited, and he's excited, but he's also nervous, and so they're doing that. So they're all there, and he's kind of just like, because he's kind of just like, oh, like this, he's like he's one of the wildlings, he's involved with the others, like he has all these like presumptions in his mind.
Yeah.
And then
from
the
like
trial
stories that old man used to tell him.
Yeah. And then so pretty much the most important part there is then his dad takes out his long sword called Ice.
Yeah. Cool name.
And yes.
Ice, made of Valyrian steel, which is spell forged and dark as smoke. Doesn't that sound cool?
Yeah, that's.
I mean, if
cool.
you're gonna have a sword, why not have that sword? I would.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then so he kills, or what's it called?
Beheads.
He beheads the guy himself, and then they're like, okay, let's head out. But Jon also says to Bran, he's like, oh, don't look away, like, you know, be brave. And then when I first read this, for some reason I read I didn't, because that was the first time I think we'd mentioned the half-brother thing, so my brain read bastard as like, oh, you're a bastard, you know, not the actual meaning of the word, and I was like, wow, he hates his brother. And then like, I think like a couple paragraphs later, it was like half-brother, and I was like,
okay.
Oh, okay. And I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense. But yeah, so we're there, and then they're like, okay, yeah, you did well, let's go back home, you know? So then they're riding along, and his dad, Bran's dad, catches up to him, and he's like, so, buddy, what did you think? And they have this, or no, not what did you think, he's like, are you well? Those were very different. But what I found interesting here, he was like, the author wrote, he asked not unkindly.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that's an interesting choice. But I guess it makes sense, because, like, he, I think Bran even mentions, like, he took off his father face and put on his, like, lord face.
Yeah.
Or whatever, so I was like, damn, that's interesting. And then they have this interaction, and they're talking about, oh, can a man be brave if he's afraid? Because they're talking about the guy and how he was afraid when he was, obviously, you know, like, on trial. And that was cool to me, and I was like, okay, he's wise. Like, this lord is wise.
The reason Bran's thinking about that is because Robb, his full brother, I don't know, like, what's the opposite of half? His brother says that the man they beheaded was brave, and Jon says that he was afraid, and that's why Bran's like, can somebody be brave if they're afraid? And Lord Stark says that's the only time a man can be brave, which is, you know, honestly, I kind of believe that. I get that.
Yeah, I felt that. I was like, damn, like, you're smart, because the only, like, figure of authority that we'd, like, met earlier was, well, he was smart, but he was also, like, arrogant and everything.
Yeah.
So I was expecting his dad to also kind of be like that, but he seemed
this
like,
guy's
cool, man.
like a very kind of humble. He says, you know, some, like, oh, he has this whole monologue when they're talking at that point that you were just getting to, but Lord Stark says, a ruler who hides behind paid executioners soon forgets what death is. And he's also talking about when Bran himself is going to be in his position, that when that day comes, you must take no pleasure in the task, but neither must you look away. So, like, we saw Theon Greyjoy, who's Lord Stark's ward, be all like, ha ha, this loser, and kicking the head, because he's, like, clearly taking pleasure in it. And then we see this very solemn, kind of humble viewpoint from Lord Stark's, like, even though he is the Lord, he's very kind of down-to-earth kind of guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, sorry, I'll let you continue.
And then, they were talking about that. And then Jon comes in, and Jon's like, yo, Dad, check this out, essentially.
Yeah.
And then,
Father, Bran, come quickly. No, I'm so terrible. I'm not gonna do accents. I can't do accents.
But then, so they, so then they, keep going, you know, with their horses, and they get to this bridge, I think. And so at the bridge, they find, so Robb and Jon are already there.
Yeah.
And they found this, like, gigantic direwolf, and they're like, whoa.
Yeah, it's, Bran says that it's bigger than his pony.
Which, I was like, wait.
Yeah.
Because they were like, oh, there's a wolf. I was like, oh, okay. And then, like, a dead wolf, and then they're like, okay, but it's gigantic, which was kind of scary. But then... But I had a little moment. So, the direwolf, you know how, like, it's their symbol or whatever for their family?
Yeah.
But I guess it makes sense if they haven't seen a direwolf in a while, but, like, how did they just not know that was a direwolf? Like, why did Jon have to be like, oh, it's a direwolf? Why didn't those, like...
Yeah, you're right. It was, I think it was Theon who calls it a freak. When Robb's like, it's a wolf, and Theon's like, oh, it's no wolf, it's a freak. And Theon he's clearly very different from the rest of the Starks. Like, you know, everybody in the party is very, like, solemn, kind of, you know, stern, and he's like this, you know, 19-year-old who's just kind of high on his own horse.
Greyjoy? Or...
Yeah, Theon
that
Greyjoy.
Guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he says it's a wolf, Robb told him. A freak, Greyjoy said. Look at the size of it. And that's when Jon's like, it's no freak, that's a dire wolf. So, you know, does Theon seem like the person that really, like, thinks before speaking?
No, that's true.
Like, at one point, Jon calls him an ass, so, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they're talking about, there's not been a direwolf sighted south of the wall. So I was like, okay, placement. They're south of the wall now.
But then we also find out that Jon's last name is Snow because all bastards in the north are last named Snow.
Oh, so, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they don't say north of the wall. They just say...
But also, they're like the... What was it? Not keepers of the wall, but there was a phrasing about something of the wall. Like, I feel like they're located close to the wall. I forget what it was that made me think that, but...
Like, the guy who they beheaded is a deserter from the Night's Watch.
Not that. There was something else. If it comes up again, I'll say it, but I forget where it was. I'm not sure where it was. Let's just keep going, and okay. I'll find it after. Okay, so they're talking about the direwolves, and at this point everyone's here, because then we're introduced to this, like, Hullen guy, and, like, those people were like, okay, so everyone's here now, everyone's looking at the puppies. And so Bran, like, takes the puppy, and he's like, aww. And so they, Robb was very proud to tell his father that, he was, hold up, oh, wait, what? A foot of shattered antler. So there was an antler that killed the wolf.
Yeah.
I did not get this.
Everybody seems like really...
Yeah, I did not get this part. I was like, why is everyone... I felt like Bran. I was like, I don't know what's going on.
But, like, Bran's really young, but everybody else, like, who's obviously older than him, everybody seems, like, kind of taken aback by it, and they're... He says something like that he could sense the fear in the air or something like that. Mm-hmm. So there is something going on with that antler killing the wolf. Yes, exactly.
But anyway, and then they were talking about, like, oh, how did the puppies get here, like, whatever. And then they were like, oh, it's fine, like, they'll die, let's just kill them. And then Theon's like,
better kill them now than, like, let them starve to death, you know?
Yeah. So he's like, let me kill them.
Yeah, he's very eager.
Yes.
He pulls out his freaking sword, like, oh my god, it's puppies, dude.
Yeah, that's true. And then, I mean, I guess they're big puppies, because...
No, the puppies, like, Bran, who's 7, has him, like, in his coat.
But
like,
if it's a bigger species, shouldn't it be a bigger puppy?
No, but puppies always start out small and then get bigger.
Yeah, but, like, small, in like, bigger relative to other puppies, you know?
Yes, but, like, normal puppies that are born are smaller than a hand. So, like...
Okay, so it makes sense. All right. Put away your sword. Oh, yeah. Robb's having a very commanding moment. You can see, like, all their personality. Like, you can see... They even bring it up, like, earlier somewhere. They're like, oh, Robb's like this, Jon's like this, Robb's like this, Jon's like this. I'm like...
Robb, he says, looks like his mother. He has, like, red-brown hair and, like, light skin and... light eyes and everything, whereas Jon is, like, dark and brooding like his dad.
Which I was like, okay, cool. I feel like that's definitely gonna be a thing, because even when they were like racing on their horses,
yeah, because they're both the same age, but the only difference is Robb is, like, a legitimate child as opposed to Jon, who's a bastard. So even though they are basically same in age and, you know, they have the same dad, their social status and just everything else is very different just because of that one thing.
Yeah, that's true. Ooh, and then they're like, okay, let's kill him. But then Bran is very vocal.
Yeah, he's just like, he says he gave out a wordless, like, yell of dismay or something.
Yeah. And then it's pretty much just them and the other people arguing back and forth, you know?
Yeah. Should we keep it? Should we not?
Yeah. And then Jon goes, Lord Stark.
Yeah.
And kind of...
very formal.
Yes. And he makes a very smart argument. I was like, okay, Jon.
But it's kind of heartbreaking because, like, as it said that he, like... the only way he can make this argument is by leaving himself out. So not, you know, he kind of knows his place in this family. It sucks. It's kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah, I know, that made me sad. I was like, oh. But,
yeah, he's like, you got 3 sons, 2 daughters, here's 5 pups. Cool, let's keep them.
Yeah. And that's where we find out why his last name's Snow.
Yeah. Just look at, remember, okay, that's where it says that the bastard who bore the surname Snow, the name that custom decreed to be given to all those in the north. Unlucky enough to be. So that's where the north part came from.
Yes, that makes sense.
So this tells us that it's still north, but just not north of the wall.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Unless Jon is born north of the wall.
Hold up. I need to read that sentence again. The name that custom decreed be given to all those... But it's in the north. I feel like they're powerful enough to, like, be at the wall, and that's, like, actually north.
Well, at the very beginning of the chapter, when Bran is talking about the wildlings, he says something about Mance Rayder, the king beyond the wall.
Yeah.
So is that beyond north of the wall or beyond south of the wall?
Okay, I think that south is like their thing, and then north is the beyond the wall. Okay. And that would also make sense as to why Jon is sort of an outcast here.
So Jon was born north of the wall?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes. That would create the most plot.
Only thing, though, with that is, sorry, I'm just going to read this part. This is when Lord Stark is sentencing the guy to death. He says, in the name of Robert, now we know who Robert is from the last chapter.
Do we?
Remember that guy, Sir, yelled, "For Robert," before going at the White Walk? At the, what are they called, the others?
Yes.
So yeah, he says, in the name of Robert of the House Baratheon, the first of his name, King of the Andals, and the Rhoynar, and the first men, Lord of the 7 kingdoms, and Protector of the realm, by the word of Eddard of House Stark, Lord of Winterfell, and Warden of the North, I do sentence you to die. So,
right, Warden of
Eddard Stark is Lord of Winterfell and Warden of the North. And then there's a king beyond the wall.
Right. I don't know.
Could it be a matter of relativity? Like, the United States is north of Mexico, but Canada is even north of that.
Yeah, so Canada's true north.
Yeah.
And then, but someone in Mexico would still
But then,
call.
there's the Arctic, which is,
Right, yes.
So what counts as north?
I think we'll find out.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Because I feel like, we'll find out. Direction isn't a plot point that we'll have to figure out. We'll find out. Okay,
so Jon speaks up to save the pups because they're they're the house symbol. They match the number of kids. And then Lord Stark is like, okay, you gotta take care of these puppies. Nobody else is gonna. And they're obviously like, I will, which is basically every kid's argument when they want to get a dog, but then they don't look after the dog.
Yeah. But then he even says, if you don't take care of this dog, it'll die.
Eat you.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah. But my prediction, something bad is gonna happen with the dogs. But, that just makes sense. It will.
All of them?
At least one of them.
Are they going to turn on the family, or is something, is an outside
They're going to turn on someone.
Oh, okay.
It could even be someone's attacking their home and, the dog saves them, but the dogs are going to end up attacking someone.
Okay, but how is that something bad? If I can see if they attack, the family, then obviously that's bad. Yeah, but if there's, attacking someone who's also attacking the family, then it's
but
a
I
good
feel
thing.
like it's more, that was just an example. I feel like it's more likely that they're going to end up turning on the family.
Okay.
Or they might end up being like, just like there for a while, you know, like until the end of the book. Like, you know how Harry got Hedwig and then we had Hedwig for a while? Maybe it'll just be like that. So then they're going off, and then Jon apparently has like extra sensitive senses.
Yeah.
And he's like,
because this is
listen.
his wolf. Yeah, nobody else can hear it except him. So he's got to, the wolf he finds is like an outsider even within the pack.
That was so cute.
And
I was
like
oh.
symbolism, with
Yes,
those wolves
yes.
there. But yeah, he's so happy to have one of his own. And
I know, he's
Theon
like,
is like,
he gives his father's ward a long, chilling look.
yeah, because
I
Theon's
think
like, this
not.
one's gonna die even faster than the others.
Yeah, and he's like, sweetie, no.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed that. But yeah, I liked the ending. I was so happy. I was like, yes, good. I was expecting like another mass murder, like in the last chapter when he's like, do you hear it? And I was like, y'all gotta stop with this. Do you hear it? Like, this happens way too often.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. So that's the chapter. I'm just gonna bring up a couple things, and then you can ask me about anything that was unclear to you. Okay. Going to the very first page. It says that it was the 9th year of summer and the 7th of Bran's life. So there's been 9 years of summer.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. And
then we also know from before winter is very long. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would love to be alive for those 9 years, but like for 9 years winters, no, thank you.
Yeah. That would not. Yeah, no. Definitely not.
Yeah.
And I feel like winter... Oh, but wait, I just realized. Like, I remember processing that and then completely ignoring it. Because it says it was the 9th year of winter. So at this time, it is summer. Summer, right? It is summer. And then they're still talking about all the snow.
Yeah.
So their summer...
There's like, when the very first sentence is that it was the morning that had a hint of crispiness that hinted at the end of summer. Mm-hmm. So it's like, we would compare it to like end of August, maybe beginning of September or something like that.
Right. But still, like, so much snow. I guess everything's just like on steroids in terms of seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fall is like actually winter.
And if they're in the north, depending on how far north, like if you think about it, the Arctic is frozen all year long. So
that's true.
Yeah. And then there's Bran is thinking about all the stories they tell about wildlings and the others, and how, there's giants and ghouls.
Yes.
And how they drink blood from polished horns. It's one of those, like, it's just very mythical, these stories. Yeah, the other thing I had highlighted was the sword ice. I just find it to be really cool. It's taller than Robb. Like, damn. How tall has it got to be? We find out that Robert of the House Baratheon is like their king, Lord of the Seven Kingdoms, protector of the realm. All of that.
Yeah. Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
So they mentioned first men a lot. When it first came up, I was like, oh, first men was like, like how Christians believe in Adam and Eve. So I was like, oh, that's their Adam and Eve. But then they like keep mentioning first men, and I'm like, does that mean first men currently exist? Because I thought it was like an ancestor thing.
Yeah, it's hold on. Okay, so this is the place where it has the most information. When they're talking in the name of Robert of House Baratheon, he is the king of the Andals, so that seems to be a population. The Rhoynar, that seems to be a population, and the first men. So if I were interpreting this, like, just off the bat, I would think, like, oh, the first men were here, then the Rhoynar came, and then the Andals came, and now he's Lord of them all, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So the fact that even, like, Lord Stark, he's talking about how they have the blood of the first men. Mm-hmm. So, like, they have ancestors from long ago in this land kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that's why I was like, oh, that's like a before ancestor. But I guess that makes sense, that there's different groups.
Yeah, it's kind of, you know, colonialism, settlers,
Yes.
and that kind of thing. The first men would be maybe the people that are indigenous to the lands, and then the other populations come in as they tend to. Yeah. Okay. I think that's all I had to like bring up in this episode. Do you have any other questions?
I'll just look through here quickly. I found it quite ironic. I feel like this is gonna happen a lot, since this seems to be a clear theme with people being really young and like, you know, going out and murdering people. But anyway, there was a sentence that was like, Jon was 14, an old hand at justice. And I was like, yes, of course.
By that,
of course,
it
as
means
a 14-year-old, he's been there so many times.
Yeah, exactly. Because Bran's 7 and he's there now. So if like in 7 years he would also be like so
it made
used
sense, but it was just ironic to be like, okay, yes, 14 equals old in the same sentence.
Yeah, well, these are different times, you know, it's definitely a different world. Yeah. Anything else?
I think just the way Jon was referring to everyone, like when he was talking to Robb, he was like, you could see it in his eyes, Stark. And I was like,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's the whole, you can sense a bit of bitterness in that.
Yeah.
That, you know, he has the last name Stark, even though it's his brother. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then when he's like Lord Stark, and I was like, oh, poor Jon.
Yeah, you know, he does address them as Robb and father and Bran, but obviously there's times when he has to acknowledge them in a very formal way, or when he's bitter, then, you know, that's his bitterness comes through when he's trying to like argue with them or whatever. But yeah.
Okay, there was just one more thing, and then I don't think I have anything else. Where it says, like, you could see it in his eyes, Stark, in the next paragraph, it says, Robb was not impressed. The others take your eyes, he swore. And so, are they talking about, like, Garrett, when Jon Snow was like, you can see it in his eyes, like, they were fearful. And then, in response to that, Robb says, the others take his eyes.
I think it's just one of the sayings in this world, like, you know, fuck his eyes, I don't care about that. In a way, like, I think that's what he's really saying. Is like, I think that's just, you know, a saying of the world. Okay, that makes sense. And I realized instead of like, oh my gosh, or anything, they say gods. Yeah. They keep saying it, I'm like, what are they talking about? In the past in the prologue, we had that guy praying to the gods of the woods, the nameless gods of the woods, and here it's gods as well. Mm-hmm. So clearly it's like, you know, they don't believe in one god, but multiple. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's all I have. Okay, yeah, that's all I have as well. Okay, so let's talk about some predictions. First off, you already mentioned that you think these wolves are going to be trouble, and they're going to turn on the family. Yes. Okay. Well, they're puppies now, so I like them at the moment, I would say. Yeah. And the way that the Bran's wolf is like snuggling against his chest. Oh, yeah. So cute. Yeah. Okay, any other predictions? Jon and Robb, maybe not now, but Jon and Robb is gonna be a thing. Like Jon versus Robb? Like they've already planted the seeds. Yes, they've already planted all the seeds, and I don't know much about, like, obviously the culture yet of this land, so I don't know what happens when they fight. Like, I don't know if they like duel, you know, like if it's like a controlled duel, or if they're just gonna like get mad at each other, or like there's definitely gonna be conflict. You know? Okay. Some family-centered conflict. Fair enough. Then, yeah. That's pretty good. Someone's gonna die soon. Really? I don't know who, but I feel like I mean, there was somebody, like, 3 people have died already, and we're only on the first chapter. True.
Exactly. So
that's
someone
not
else is
like
gonna
really
die.
a big. That's not a good prediction. Maybe give me a who. Who's gonna die?
Who is gonna die? Maybe. If their dad died, that would be dramatic. But I feel like it's
Lord
not.
Stark.
Yes.
Okay.
Because he manages a lot of things.
And that could maybe lead to the conflict between Robb and Jon.
Yeah.
You know, like, I deserve to be his heir. No, I deserve to be his heir. Like, you know, that's what I imagine those times to be like.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what
How do you... Okay, you think he's gonna die. How is he gonna die? Just of old age? He's 35, though.
What's that guy? Greyjoy. What if Greyjoy betrays him?
Oh. Yeah, because he does seem like a dick.
Yes.
Alright, I like this. I think
like
we should start writing
die?
I like this story. I think we should start writing our own book.
Alright.
Okay. Alright, now, the best part of the episode. You want to turn over to the next chapter and see the title and read it out loud for us?
Catelyn.
Oh.
How's that Catelyn?
Kate would be C-A-I-T.
No. According to English spelling rules that break every single time, but according to rules, that should be Kate.
Okay, well, it's Catelyn. Actually, people pronounce it like Caitlin or Catelyn. I heard it in the show and they say Catelyn, and I like that just because I like it better.
Catelyn.
Yeah.
Okay, but then why is there an E? That doesn't make sense.
It's like Catelyn. Kind of like that.
That's okay.
You know what? Whatever. You can call that whatever. I'm going to say Catelyn just because I'm used to it. All right. What do you think that's about?
Catelyn. Okay, well, Lord Stark has more kids, and he has 2 girls that we don't know yet, so
yeah,
that could be a thing. But
so you think it's one of his daughters?
Yeah. Or it could be, but I feel like it wouldn't be. I just feel like it could be their mom, but why would their mom be significant? I mean, I don't know much, so she could be like, you know, really significant. But it could be their mom. It could be their sister, one of their sisters. Because we know one of their sisters' names. What is it? Riken? Or is that a guy?
That's his baby brother.
Oh, brother? Okay. So we don't know either of the girls' names. Who else could it be? It's definitely a person.
Okay. I mean, it's definitely more like a name than Bran.
Yes, exactly. Sure. Raisin Bran.
So at least you're sure that there won't be any cereal.
Yes.
Although there might be like
another royal family. I don't know.
Like House Stark, House Catelyn.
Well, Catelyn's last name would be the house.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Cool. Yeah. I guess that's it for this episode then. Are you getting to be a bit more interested in this now? I know you were very skeptical last time. You're like, what is this? I'm not interested. I just want to move on to something else.
It's okay. I'm just wrapping my head around it. I feel like next episode will be more dramatic than this one. Or chapter. Okay.
Let me remind you, this book has like 70 chapters, so...
Oh my.
It's gonna take a while to wind up. It could take a while to wind up.
Yes, that's true. Oh, that's true. Yeah. Okay. All right. That's fine.
Because, like, if you have the climax of the story happening in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. 70. Right. See, I was thinking about that earlier. I was like, how do you just, like, what are they gonna do? I feel like it's because I don't know anything yet. I feel like once exposition is, like, over, I'll know. So then, you know, I'll be able to think of ways that
the story's gonna go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Right now, I'm like, I don't even
have some characters. I mean, the very first 3 characters we met in the prologue are all dead. So we're never gonna see them again. But they did give us some context for the world that this is set in. And now we're getting into some actual characters that have not died so far.
Mm-hmm. Actually, you know what I think? Because this chapter was from the perspective of like a royal family, I guess.
Yeah.
I think the next one's gonna be the opposite, like someone from the north or whatever. I think Caitlyn's gonna be like a little girl in the north.
So like a wildling, they call them?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we shall find out. Thank you to everyone for listening. We hope you enjoyed. I know these chapters tend to be really long. Not chapters, but the episodes of us talking about them. Hopefully you find them interesting. If you have any feedback, feel free to reach us at popculturesymposium@gmail.com. And you can find us at Pop Culture Symposium on Facebook as well. And yeah, just let us know how we can do better. You know, we're just getting into this. We like talking to each other, so yeah, that's why we're doing it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for listening. Farewell, everyone.
See you later.